I want us to look at the first 6 words, for God so loved the world. In fact, I want us to focus on the word loved and the word world. For God so loved the world. The Old Testament, written in Hebrew, has an interesting word for love. It's H-A-S-A-Q, hasak, hasak. Not like the sock you put on in the morning, but hasak, hasak. And it means to tether, to bind. It's not so much a feeling or an emotion. It's a chain. It was used to describe actually a handcuff. So when Moses talked about God's love for the Israelites, he used this word. For example, the Lord chose your ancestors as the objects of his hasak, his love, the objects of his binding. He bound himself to them. He chained himself to them. Did God do this because the Israelites were so lovable? No. Did he do it because they were worthy of affection? No. He did so for the same reason that he binds himself, he chains himself to you and me. He just chose to do so. And his choice is permanent. Would you please receive what I'm about to say to you? God will not let you go. He just won't. He will not let you go. You think you did something this week that disqualifies you from God's love. That's his choice, not yours. He has bound himself to you. He has handcuffed himself to you, and only he has the key. You don't. You need not win his love. You already have it, and since you can't win it, you can't lose it. You're tethered to God. John, writing in the New Testament, John 3:16, used, of course, then the Greek word for love. Many of you are familiar with agape. It's not the same word used to describe the romantic love between a husband and a wife, or the friendship love used to describe the affection between 2 friends. It's a different kind of love. It is a divine love that always does what is in the best interest of the other. Agape. For God so agapeo the world. He loves us with a divine love, less an affection and more a decision, less a feeling and more an action. You are loved by God with an unearthly love. You tend to confuse, I do too, the love of God with the love of people. People love you more when you do more. People love you better when you are better. The love of people comes and goes and ebbs and flows. Not so with the love of God. He has simply chosen to love you. And again, you have not disqualified yourself from this love. The church did not receive a list before the service of those who were worthy to receive communion. He loves you to the degree that you trust the love of God, your heart will soften. To the degree that you dismiss the love of God, your heart will harden. Did you know the age 70 is on the horizon for me? I'm really getting old. And I've noticed that as I get older, everyone I talk to is younger. But those who are my age are either increasingly soft-hearted or increasingly hard-hearted. I cannot verify this. I don't have any study to prove it, but I just have a deep-seated hunch. And that is, those who have spent their life resisting the love of God have hard hearts. But those who have spent their lives receiving the kindness of God have tender hearts. Spend a life refusing to let God love you. You pay a price for it. But spend a life letting God forgive you, care for you. And then your heart is tender. Wouldn't you love to have a tender heart?